Welcome to our weekly awareness special, where each week we highlight and focus on one area of the world where we feel that awareness could only serve to help make the world a better place. Today, as our guest panel, we have Winona from North Carolina, Dylan from Idaho, Phil from Washington, and of course myself, your host, Sarah Aretti from Washington as well. Now to get us started, Winona, could you tell us our topic would be today?
Sure, today we'll be focusing on gender inequality in Pakistan.
Thanks, Winona. I know you have done research about education for women in Pakistan. I've heard about the famous teenage Malala and how her school was closed by the Taliban in 2009. Can you tell us about it and some of the main issues that women in Pakistan are facing today?
Absolutely, in the tribal areas of the country, women do not have the opportunity for education. They are kept home both emotionally and physically. This unfair treatment of women in education is due to the thinking of the extremists. More than 40% of young women have never stepped foot into a classroom. The men of Pakistan still force women to stay at home, to cook, and have children. Even though laws have been passed to address gender equality, they are not enforced.
What do you think are the best solutions to these problems?
Well, Sarah, a solution is suggested that men are engaged as allies in gender-related initiatives to help change mindset, attitudes, and behaviors. This is only possible when both men and women are engaged in overcoming barriers for gender equality. We can make effective use of existing institutions, implement food supplementation programs, improve girls-only schools, engage credible men, increase training for female teachers, and collaborate with political leaders.
Well, it sounds like things are tough as far as getting an education in Pakistan for women. It is amazing how we take so many things for granted growing up. Phil, doesn't that relate to your research area of growing up in Pakistan and living a life in Islam?
Yes, it does, Sarah. And I've learned quite a bit about the difference between growing up in Pakistan compared to the Western world. Pakistan is the sixth most populous country on earth. In Pakistan, discrimination against women begins at birth. When boys are born, there is celebration. Fathers are congratulated, and wives are happy for their husbands. But when girls are born, there is disappointment and embarrassment. There are no celebrations, and wives are saddened for their husbands. The male children also receive most of the family resources. Boys get better food, and girls get leftovers and are less nourished. And while boys enjoy all sorts of activities, girls need permission and an escort to do almost anything outside of their home.
Our childhoods are quite different than others in different countries. I see that there are some struggles for women growing up in Pakistan as a girl and being a Muslim woman. What kinds of things do you think we can do to support women's rights and help women to have a voice of decision in their own lives?
Well, I think it should start with the family. When a girl is born, there should be as much love and respect for a female child. Girls should be taught that they can achieve anything they desire. As the government supports equal rights, it needs to ensure that it is followed everywhere, even in rural areas. This will help change the attitudes of the people. Children should all attend school, both male and female. This will help to shape the future of the people as well as their economy.
It sounds like you were saying they need more enforcement, in which case I wholeheartedly agree. Some of what you said covers another area of research, which is the study of violence against women in Pakistan. I remember reading about a teenage girl being flogged in broad daylight by the Taliban, and that woman in gang rape every 8 hours in Pakistan. It is really tough for women there because there are just so many ways that they feel trapped. Sarah, would you go ahead and share with us some of those ways that you have found?
Yes, of course. There are lack of opportunities, decision-making power, proper transport systems, support systems, education, as well as closed communication, early marriages and forced marriages, no ownership of land or property, the role of non-government organizations and of the government. Violence in any form affects the entire family, community, country, and world. Honor killings are up 400% in Pakistan over the last 2 years, and 200,000 Bangladeshi women are held in sexual bondage in Pakistan. Violence is not only about physical violence, but about mental violence as well. Awareness of gender discrimination is so critical in Pakistan, but especially in rural areas.
I would have a hard time living in a place where I felt trapped all the time and that I couldn't get away from the threat against me.
Yeah, but the more unfortunate thing is that Pakistani women are used to the situation and don't think about it the same way we do. Here are some of the solutions that I think will work. We should invite awareness, educate women about their rights, and make communities aware of how violence causes destructive effects on families, communities, and the country. We should also have government and non-government organization intervention. Part of that effort is the women in Pakistan supporting each other instead of backbiting and one-upping each other.
Wow, those are some great ideas. Who knows if they will ever come to pass, but you can never tell what will happen. I mean, Benazir Bhutto became prime minister, and who would have thought that a woman would be prime minister of a Muslim nation? Women in government positions and in the workforce are actually Dallon's areas of expertise. Is that right, Dallon?
Yep, that's right.
Well, Dylan, give us the skinny on what's happening with that in Pakistan, if you will.
Sure thing. From what I've learned, the presence of women in Pakistan politics is guaranteed in the constitution by a quota system that reserves certain seats for females. Equality of women in the government positions and in the workforce are popular. The few countries in the world that do not have women as a federal minister. Only 2 state ministers at the center are women. We can all look towards Benazir Bhutto as an example. She was the 11th Prime Minister of Pakistan and also the first woman to be at the head of a Muslim nation. But she still struggled to remain in power. She continued to fight and set an amazing example for women not only in Pakistan, but the world.
I think you are right, Dylan. I have admired Benazir Bhutto from the moment I first read about her. She is an inspiration for these women, no doubt. What do you see in the future for working women and women in the government positions?
Well, we can still see that the government isn't taking as much action as it should. Feminists will have to defend themselves by focusing on universal human rights, so others are less likely to challenge and block them in the long run. There are laws being made and more people fighting for their rights, so we can only hope that the government will actually start to enforce laws.
I'm glad that you have given us some things to think about that might give us a little hope, because there can be so many negatives when we look at the situation for women in Pakistan. Well, as you can see, the situation in Pakistan is less than ideal and needs a great deal of improvement. That is all we have left, the time we have left for this week. Next week, we will bring you another issue to ponder and possibly take action to. Do your best to do some good in the world, dear ones. Ciao from Be Aware.